Hello everyone, I'm Renowned Zero, and we are back again talking about, of course, the haters, the detractors, consistently and constantly coping. This is a story of 3 days now. We are on day 3 of Vito absolutely coping and claiming that he's not. This man has been going on a tirade, literally talking about everything going on right now with the end result of this lawsuit, the trademark lawsuit, with their July. Wants to sling mud, wants to throw shade, wants to talk crap about literally everyone but himself, saying he calls out BS, right? While everyone calls out the BS of your work ethic, the BS of the fact that you have no discipline, the fact that this is all you know how to do is absolutely throw shade and talk crap about literally everyone else without finishing your own project. You want to sit up here and talk crap about Eric July. You want to sit up here and talk crap about his art editor, by the way, which a dumbass like you doesn't understand the difference between a editor for, the storyline versus an art editor. You and Dick Masterson both like to sit up here and claim that, oh, his editor is so good. He doesn't edit the story. He edits the art. But we're going to go through every single thing you've been saying for the last 3 days since the 21st. It is now the 23rd as the recording of this video. And all you've been doing is coping and seething and try to spin things negatively and take credit for clearly something that Eric's lawyers, the people you like to clown when he says it's his rock star lawyers, you like to sit up here and try to clown them and clown everyone else. And yet you still haven't put out a book. Now, I know you weirdos and your haters always like to ask me, well, where's your book? That's not the point. I'm not in it to make a book. I don't care to make a book. That's not what I'm interested in doing. What I'm interested in doing is showing the hypocrisy and the nonsense and call out the lies and the BS that you weirdos like to spew on a consistent basis daily. But let's jump right into Alpha Core #1, right? A book that is doing absolutely fantastic, written by the legendary Chuck Dixon and penciled by Joe Bennett, sitting at $1.17 million, something to the amount of money that Vito will never see in his entire life, right? He will never see this type of success because he likes to consistently crap all over everyone and anything standing in his way of calling out the bull crap. Meanwhile, you can't even put out a book. You can't even put out a book and give consistent updates on anything. And on top of all that, you want to sit up here and tell the world that you're going to put out a free digital copy. So it's a slap in the face to the people who backed your book and are waiting for your physical book. And then it makes new people who are coming in saying, why would anyone choose to spend their money on what looks like utter dog crap if they can just read it for free? You encourage it. You encourage people to read it for free. Why in the world would anyone spend their hard-earned money that they've spent hours, maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, more than likely it's 2 or 3 hours that people have spent to back your book, which by the way is probably more like 4 hours because with shipping and handling and all that stuff. So just for safe numbers, we'll say someone worked 4 hours to back your garbage art and your garbage book just for you to tell them you can read it digitally for free. Why would anyone do that? Anyway, sold over 20,000 books. Again, get your copy today. Head on over to the store, pick up your merchandise. We'll skip all that for today. We got a lot to talk about today. Blade Double 2, Chains of Blood, fantastic. 147K, 1,582 backers. Back in today. Looking forward to it. 69 pages of story with 2 supplemental stories. 4 different covers for you to choose from. Get in where you fit in. If you'd like to get Blade Double 1, it's right here. I have links to both Blade Double 1 and 2 in the description of every single video. So, This post is from September 28th, 2023. You were sitting at 77K 350. So $77,350. That would be 77.35K, right? With 1,386 backers. You have successfully gained, what, a little over 3K, maybe, if I'm being generous, or close to 3K, actually. So almost 3 months, and you haven't even gained 3K yet. Kind of interesting how that works. Like I said, Blade Devil has 1,582 backers. You have about 130 less. And yet, Toxic Man Baby and Raging Golden Eagle can raise almost double what you did. Why? Because they're not sitting up here trashing on other people's artwork, trashing other people's fans like you consistently do. Tell the world how you really feel about the people that back your book while you're sitting up here saying you could get a free digital release. Again, why would anyone back it then? That's the whole point, is to have something that no one else can get, right? And you want to sit up here and do nonsense like make updates with multiple spelling errors, right? You want to sit up here and complain about typos, yet you've got typos in your updates. And on top of all that, you want to sit up here and trash people's artwork, right? You want to trash people's artwork, and you want to call Eric July this. You can read it, and you didn't even spell imbecile right. So how are you going to sit up here and talk about typos and spelling errors? You can't even spell check an update for your comic. You sound like a moron. But when you hang around people that are also morons, because I've seen the people you hang around, holy crap, it's also a bunch of other fat retards. So, moving on. It's already starting. What? Because I said, you mad, bruh? Oh, because no one said that before to literally anybody. Yes, you are absolutely mad. You've been mad for, what, 3 days now? 3 days. We're on day 3 of you being mad and you coping. And you finding a way to cope with your miserable life. Just gonna add this in here. There was a video. I showed it in my last video, where it was Coke Chameleon showing a little boy wearing a dress with his 2 gay dads. To where he says, I'm not upset by parents allowing their kids to play dress up, and I think you have a sick mind for suggesting there's something nefarious about it. Yes, there's something absolutely nefarious about a young boy wearing a dress. Young boys don't wear dresses. Men don't wear dresses. Well, at least straight men don't. I don't know about gay men. I don't know about that. But straight men don't wear dresses. Okay? They don't. And you can see why people call you the things that they do. Because you say and have terrible takes like this. Yes, you say, congratulations to Eric July for taking my advice and handling this legal matter. You're not a lawyer. I'm sure the supposed legal advice that he's taking from you was said by his lawyers, his actual lawyers that have practiced law. Privately, rather than continue to spurg out in the public square and going on embarrassing rants about gay ops and fake Christians. Yeah, because Christians don't act the way the ministry did. They don't spurg out of nowhere because something's making a profit and they automatically assume that their quote-unquote trademarks being violated, while there's hundreds of places called ISOM, including a government organization. The only thing he's learned from this experience is how much of a bitch you are. That's literally all I've learned from this experience, is how many people are fake as fuck and are out here being bitch made and wanting someone else to fail because you disagree or dislike them. That's the only thing that I've learned, that I'm sure he's learned. And when I said the amount of coping and seething both you and Dick Masterson are showing right now is quite glorious. Trying to take credit for the way Eric handled it is even funnier. Hashtag when is super killer. Yes, I am coping and seething about Eric privately setting a lawsuit in the exact manner I told him to do months ago. You don't think that You don't think that his lawyers were talking to him? Again, you are not a lawyer. You don't practice law. And for two grown adults, something you're not, have a mutual understanding of how to avoid confusion, although it's very hard to have brand confusion between the ministry and the Rippaverse. You have to be honestly, purposefully ignorant to think there's any confusion between those two. However, will I cope with this tremendous L of two businesses I have no involvement with privately selling a trademark dispute? I'm truly owned. Yes, you know why you're truly owned? You are truly owned because I'm pretty sure this isn't the outcome you expected. Since you want to sit up here and say, oh, it'll be called the Mighty Isom. Oh, he should change it to this. He should just do this. No. This is exactly what I said in my last video. All you weirdos that claim I don't understand how settlements work. No. I understand how settlements work. It's not a hard concept. It's just somebody with common sense could tell you how this should have played out. Right? And they'll tell you that there was no brand confusion. I knew from the jump nothing was going to change, and nothing's going to change going forward. The character's name's not going to change. The book's name's not going to change. Two adults came together and said, okay, we'll make sure there's no brand confusion. Perfect. It's not a hard concept. To which he wants to say, if my comic book company, the one you don't really have because you haven't put a book out, had fans this stupid, I would know I'd done something horribly wrong. Here's the thing, Vito. I can guarantee I've put more money into indie projects than anybody who's backed your trash super killer. I guarantee I've put more money into one indie project than anybody who's backed super killer. I can guarantee you that. To which I said, you still haven't put out a book. You hang around actual retards who are irrelevant just like you, homie. You're pretty stupid for crying about another man being successful in the comic industry. Also, you're a huge pussy because rather than quote tweet, you screenshot. Smarter than you in every aspect of life, considering after all the crap talking, I'm going to monetize all of it, which I am now for a second video. You clearly weren't smart enough to put out a book before you started talking shit, and I guarantee I put more money into indie comics than you have. Get fucked, you absolute salty bitch. Continue to cope and seethe. Hashtag when is superkiller. $4,000 views. It's crazy how I can get similar views to you than you get on posts, and you have way more followers than I do. Me, I don't think Eric should lose his trademark. I think there's a vast world of difference between a comic character and a Bible school. Rippatards, Vito must be seething. Yes, you are. You've been seething for 3 days. We are still on the 21st. I haven't even gotten to the 22nd yet of his crappy tweets. I'm glad Eric July was able to cease slandering your good name and handle the situation like an adult. I hope he's learned from this experience. This is what we call concern trolling. You literally just said you have nothing in either of these companies, yet you're out here concern trolling for one against the other because Eric July made you look like a total bitch and you haven't accepted it. You've been salty for over a year now. Probably a year and a half at this point. Eric doesn't have to settle because the lawsuit has no case. Whoops. There was no case. Like I said in my last video, even Nick Rekieta, someone who actually practices law, right, in central Minnesota, said that more than likely nothing will come from it and the lawsuit is frivolous. I said the same thing and I don't even practice law. I said the same thing, that it was going to be frivolous and nothing. So, you also started a comic franchise that hasn't put a book out. You haven't put a book out yet. How do you have a franchise with no book? That's not how that works. You might want to look at the definition of franchise. And then he goes on to say this. If you're tired of guys like Tim Pool and Eric July trying to hijack the indie comic space, by the way, Tim Pool hasn't made a comic. He's doing more music than anything else. He does have a podcast show called Pop Culture Crisis. that talks about the pop culture stuff, but he doesn't have a comic, bro. And turn it into a political battleground. Y'all are the only ones that have done that. His book was apolitical. There were no political bullcrap preaching down nonsense that you see in mainstream comics. Yet somehow they've turned it into a political battleground. Why not check out my comic instead? Good bloody fun, no culture war nonsense. There was no culture war nonsense in ISOM or Alpha Core. They were just good, fun stories to read about superheroes. Literally all it was. Never marketed as an anti-woke comic, which is exactly what you and Dick Masterson always claim that it is all the time, any chance you get. They were never marketed as anti-woke. They were marketed as fun and entertaining. Back to basics of a comic being entertaining. Hey guys, I'm happy to report again. This quote is tweet is so cringe. Hey guys, I'm happy to report that we have just settled our trademark dispute with Superkiller-625 Insecticides. I know this video will piss off the Superkiller haters, but despite their best efforts, the Superkiller community has prevailed yet again. Bro, you didn't think this was cringe before you hit send? This is absolutely cringe. This is the most cringe thing I've seen you say or do in a very long time. Embrace real art, no AI, no 3D models, or creativity. This is someone, again, trying to take shots at other people's art. It doesn't matter. If someone wants to buy art that is AI or use 3D models or whatever, again, you're on this bandwagon of Eric used 3D models even though he has actual artists who draw. So that would mean that Gabe Altaib, the other comic he's working on with Dean Cain, I guess that's 3D model too, even though he's been on streams actually drawing, but okay. Yeah. Hey, Eric, did your Rockstar lawyers tell you to go on Nick Recator's stream and admit that all the receipts you kept bragging about didn't actually exist? He didn't fold. He chose to do that. That's his own prerogative. And this right here, right? This was the part where he was talking about late books and all that. Eric July has released a new video calling out indie comic creators who are late to fulfill their crowdfunding campaigns. Why would he ridicule his own creative team like that? I have no idea. So, let's go through the books, right? Rambo First Kill, which, by the way, is co-written by Sylvester Stallone. You forgot to mention that it's co-written by Sylvester Stallone. It is not Chuck Dixon's project. It is not his priority to have this fulfilled. He isn't the head writer of this book. The head writer of this book is Sylvester Stallone. So it is on Sylvester Stallone to get this project out to the customer. It's not Chuck Dixon's problem. Besides that, the story is already completed. They're just putting the lettering to send the print file to be printed, for the book to be printed. So technically, if you want to go that far, Chuck Dixon already finished writing the book. Now they're doing the lettering of the book with the story that Sylvester Stallone and Chuck Dixon wrote. You idiot. You played yourself. Next one. Brand, Way of the Gun. Because this is the next book you show, right? You put Rippaverse editor Kanan White. Rippaverse art editor Kanan White. He's not responsible for the writing of the book. He's responsible for the artwork. Which, if you go to the update, all the artwork is done. All the artwork is complete. That would mean that Kanan White's job is finished. And this was 2 months ago, by the way. Kanan White's artwork is completed. His job is done. He moved on to the next project. So again, you have egg on your face and you look stupid. Next book. Rock and Roll Ninja. Campaign is closed. The book already went to print 2 months ago. The book went to print. Most likely, people have already either gotten their books or in the process of getting their books. And Richard C. Meyer takes the full blame for the lateness. So that's, again, not on Chuck Dixon. He already finished his job on this book. This isn't Chuck Dixon's personal project. If you wanted to go after Chuck Dixon's work ethic, you probably would have used a book that he actually wrote. You could have been a little bit smarter and did some better research. Out of all the books, this is probably the only one that didn't get fulfilled because it didn't get the proper funding, according to the updates. On top of all that, Richard C. Meyer has put out more books than you. He's put out quite a few Jawbreakers books. What have you put out? 0 books. 0 books in your supposed comic book franchise. But you want to sit up here and talk crap about everyone else being late. Shut up. You absolute moron. My 3 passions in life are comedy, writing, and calling out BS. You're not funny. Clearly your writing isn't up to par because you're not finishing your book. And the only person that you should be calling out the BS of is yourself. You should literally be calling out the BS of yourself. His name will remain as such, meaning Isom's character name will remain the same, but the title of the Isom book will be changing, likely after issue 3. Interestingly, these are the exact same settlement terms I said Eric should propose back in October. No. 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 It says we'll be moving forward with the Isom name and will remain as such. Literally means he will continue to go forward using the exact same thing. Which, by the way, this says ISSIOM. This isn't even the correct spelling of Isom. So you look stupid. Whoever made this is an idiot. Get it right. At least if you're going to make parody and make garbage art like this, make it right. No egg has been on. Okay, we're finally into December 22nd, by the way, with this one. Not this one. This one. We're finally into December 22nd, 2023. We're finally there. No one has egg on their face. Everyone told you to stop making your situation worse by slandering a Christian ministry with silly drama videos to privately settle your trademark lawsuit. They were right. Again, anyone with common sense would have known this was a nothing burger. Nothing was going to come of it. The problem is you people cannot cope with the fact that he did not lose the supposed trademark that he was holding on to. He's still allowed to use Isom on his comics. And he has said so. It's here to stay for the entire run of the Rippaverse. So, cope. You even got actual fandom looking into the shady overseas art scam that Eric July uses for his clip art backgrounds because you're an idiot who actually believes that. We all know how much of a vendetta you've had against Eric, considering you made an entire hour video researching a comic book charlatan, which that video was dog shit. I probably got more views doing a live stream on it than you actually did on that video. But I haven't checked the numbers, so I don't care that much. And here we go. I'm just going to throw this in. There's no universe which I would pay old man Dixon to flop out more of his stale cape stuff. You mean the stale cape stuff that people constantly praise? No one's praising Super Killer outside of your biased circle. Literally no one outside of your biased circle is praising Super Killer. I will keep Michael Bancroft out of it, though, because I've heard he's a good dude. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But literally anyone else who's probably read this book is biased towards your book. Law. So every single time Eric settles a stupid lawsuit, it's a huge W against me, a completely unrelated third party. Well, you involved yourself in it. You involved yourself in the nonsensical drama that this all started. You involved yourself. First, you're not involved in it. Next moment, you are involved in it. Which one is it? Pick one. You can't have it both ways. I'm sure that's part of it because this guy says, I think the F&T guys that act like experts on comics, they act like experts on comics because they've been reading comics almost their whole life. Burner account. Don't want to admit how bad it is because they suckered the audience into buying the comic. I'm sure that's part of it because people also fell victim to this, quote, parallel economy marketing shtick. They really believe spending money on crappy products as a group is a win. I think the products have to be crappy for the scam to work, otherwise they would not be as validating. So everybody's a scam again. We're back to the scam narrative. For old Dicky Boy Masterson, we're back to the scam narrative. Shut up. You are a fucking waste of life. Rippatards are just like ultra progressive consumers in LA. You are a consumer in LA. You literally live in that bitch made state. They need to constantly buy crap and be told it makes them good people. Eco-friendly crap, BLM oatmeal. Here we go, the anti-woke. It's all the same worthless crap they buy nonstop for the marketing. I think the next thing is going to be after the whole Glenn Beck, take a sip of water. I think the next thing is going to be anti-woke comic, take a sip of water. Because holy crap, they keep regurgitating this non-moot point. And I was having, of course, back and forth with people saying that if you pirated ISOM, you have no opinion that I care about. Your opinions are invalid to me. Looks like I can't give an opinion on that copy of Oppenheimer I borrowed from my brother. Like I said, you're dumb. There's a difference between borrowing a purchased copy and outright pirating something that has no digital copies out there. Bringing out all the retarded MFers on this app today is just too easy. No one in that thread alluded to pirating it. I can guarantee you no one in that thread bought ISOM, except for the one dude who posted a picture of his 3 books. ISOM 1, 2, and Alpha Core. You were the one that brought it up, so even by your standards, they can still have an opinion. No, they can't have an opinion. If you pirated this book because there are no digital copies of it, right? I could understand if digital copies were out there that he actually put out himself, but because of this not having digital copies, I say your opinion is invalid on this. Because there are no digital copies of this book. And that's why I feel your opinions are invalid. It would make more sense if there were actual digital copies that he sold, but he hasn't. And because he hasn't, you're essentially stealing material. You guys want to sit up here and cry about how people steal material all the time, but because it's somebody you don't like, it's okay for you to steal the material. It's okay for you to pirate the material. It's okay for you to put the whole entire material out there for people to read and put up all these links and then cry DMCA. Fuck off. Last, again, towards the end here. So, I already read this. This is Vito saying, Rippaverse stands are currently planning to pirate my comic. The same comic which I've said many times will have a free digital release. These knuckleheads ain't too bright, are they? Again, this is something that this person has put out, right? Chloe has put out, that says, in fact, I got a funny proposal. If Super Killer comes out, we all pirate it, create a list of critiques and suggest a fix. Obviously, sarcasm. But that literally happens in the book and ask questions that are addressed in the book. And if Vito gets mad, we just ask him why he can't handle criticism. What this idiot doesn't realize, she literally described Dick Masterson's shitty notes that he put out for ISOM 1. That's exactly what he did. Where I said, you're too stupid to realize this is exactly what Dick Masterson did with ISOM number 1 and with his retarded notes. You absolute moron. So you basically just called him retarded. You are clearly not very bright yourself. Hashtag win a super killer. Once again, rather than quote tweet, you screenshot, you pussy. This person, present the proof that Eric lost money. Something they don't have. They just claim it's an NDA. And I said, what win? What win? Eric got to keep his name on his character's book and the name of his superhero name. And the weird goalpost I saw was, oh, do you notice he's lowercasing ISOM now? Like, such a reach. Grasping at straws, dude. He says, Eric would say you smell like fat commie, you can't wipe his ass. I was like, no need to refer to me as Riley. I believe you have mistaken me. Enjoy Commie Canada. The amount of posts I like and repost about freedom, farthest thing from the truth, bro. Lol, the simple question, what's your favorite part, stumped so many fake fans that they've had to try and make a meme out of making up an answer. Yeah, they made a meme, and then Eric made money on it. and y'all were coping. Literally, Dick Masterson was coping about it. So who cares? All because many of Eric's biggest stands never even read it. Literally never happened, yet dipshits like you continue to make shit up. The problem is, and I've said this before, people would put out their favorite part, and they would either get laughing emojis, or that part sucks, or this and that. Concern trolling. Coming from people who don't actually care. I said it before. They put their opinion out there about what their favorite part was, and you weirdos don't actually care. And again, this is coming from a guy who has a channel that does horror makeup and cannot stick to just doing that. He just sticks to talking shit again on Twitter rather than focusing on his craft, similar to a Vito. You notice how all these guys have projects going on and they don't focus on that? You know what happens when you focus? Like, just like this guy too. I had completely ignored this guy on Twitter. So you decide to come over to the YouTube side and think, I'm going to not ignore your ass again. Ignored. I'm sorry that you're retarded enough to believe a frivolous lawsuit in which Eric didn't lose the supposed trademark he was using doesn't get lost. Cope. You know what happens when you focus on your craft and you focus on what you're doing? You get this. You get growth. And these are the only people that matter to me. You weirdos out there don't matter to me. The only thing you're useful for is pointing, laughing, and monetizing. That's literally the only thing you're useful for. To which I said, fantastic end to the year, hitting my goal of 1,400 subs and even surpassing it. Thank you to all my subscribers and viewers for watching the videos. Onward to 2024. Because that's how you act as a content creator. You focus on what you're doing, and people will show interest in what you're doing. And they'll continue to subscribe, and, maybe they'll throw you a bone. Maybe they'll throw you some money. I don't know, out of their own kindness for showing them some content that they enjoy watching. Which is what every one of these weirdos need to focus on rather than crying about another man's success constantly. Focus on your stuff. Stop crying about everybody else. And at the end of the day, shut the fuck up. Thank you all for checking out this video. Again, I really do appreciate everyone who's watched the videos, subscribed to the channel, liked, commented, and turned on notifications to get the notifications whenever I post a video or go live. This has been a crazy year. 1,400 subs, passing 1,400 subs, onward to 2024. I appreciate everyone for watching the videos, and I will see you all on the next one. Peace.